That's brilliant, lovely. Well, we'll make a little start, if you don't mind, and there'll be a few people obviously joining us. That's absolutely fine, that's no problem. A huge warm welcome to our students this morning for attending today's Career Cafe session as part of Future Skills Week and building your personal brand for the creative industries. We have a wide range of students ranging from cinematic arts, graphic design, marketing, digital marketing. We have law, we have business students on board, we have animation students on board. We even have biomedical science students on board. So you're all very, very welcome to the session this morning. We have 3 unique creative experts are going to share their stories in terms of their outlook in terms of their own personal brand within their individual creative sectors. We want you really to engage today in today's session. There'll be myself, there's Stella there, and I see Kathy's on board as well. So feel free throughout the session to pose plenty of questions in the chat function. This is a fantastic opportunity that these 3 unique individuals have given up their time to participate in today's Careers Cafe session. So I certainly hand it over now to James. And James, you're very, very welcome, and I'll let you introduce yourself. Thank you kindly.
Thanks for that, Donna. Yeah, just want to really reiterate what Donna said there. Great to be with you all this morning. Not sure I would deem myself an expert, but we're all just giving it our best shot at the moment, especially in the landscape that we find ourselves. So yeah, great to be with you this morning to touch base on some personal branding tips and the experience that I have in terms of branding myself and the business and the agency, so that it stands out not only to other creatives but also to the customers and the wider public as well. So going to touch on building your personal brand for the creative industries. I own a marketing agency. We are called Rapid Agency. I don't know if some of you might have, hopefully, have heard of us. We're a young agency. I established the business back in 2016, and in that time it was a really different landscape in terms of digital marketing. So we offer a number of services, but at that time, back in 2016, it was solely social media marketing that we offered. And as time has gone on, the brand and the business has evolved, as has the digital landscape that businesses find themselves in. So we offer a number of services: branding, web design, search engine optimization, and social media marketing. We offer those to around 50 retaining clients, but then at any one time we would have a list of maybe 20 websites in the waiting that we're ready to start work on, from a range of e-commerce sites, brochure sites, not solely in Northern Ireland but in the Republic and in the mainland as well. So in about 5 years we've scaled up to having 8 staff, and are really excited about what digital holds for Belfast and for the wider region as well, in terms of how we can support businesses cut through the noise and establish themselves as a strong presence online. So what our clients look like? Well, we have restaurants, cafes, shopping centres, builders, merchants, as well as a lot of online retailers. So really spread in terms of our clientele, but we're fairly focused in terms of the services that we offer, primarily being web, branding, SEO, and social media. So in terms of building your personal brand for the creative industry, what does that look like? Where do you start? I look back on my own journey through branding myself and branding Rapid. And one of the key things that would stand out to me is to specialize in something rather than generalizing in everything. And that's really important, because whenever a customer comes to recommend you, or whenever somebody comes to mention your name, you want to be known for doing something and doing something well, rather than a customer or a client not really sure what all you do, and that can lead to a bit of confusion. So whenever we're interviewing for staff, we just took on 3 new staff at the start of the year and have quite a lot of University of Ulster ex-graduates. But one of the key questions that I would ask a student or somebody coming on as looking a graduate job is, what are you good at? What do you specialise in? And the amount of people that can't really answer that question in one sentence is alarming. So I would say hone down on, what do you want to be known for? Whenever somebody says your name, what comes after that? What are you branding yourself as? Just to take you back a wee bit on Rapid then, and in terms of determining what you want to be known as, our original logo and our original name was Rapid Marketing, and whenever I set up, I say everything marketing related, too many things at that time. We were making flyers, we were doing design, we were creating billboards, we were making videos, we were doing photo shoots. We had no niche whatsoever. And whenever I would come to tell customers what I can do for them, I ended up telling them far too many things that they were confused. Actually, right, well, what actually do you do? What's the main thing? So then that's why we then done a bit of a rebrand. And even this here was my original business card way back in 2015, 2016. And it says digital education and digital content management. Now, even that alone, I'm not even too sure what that meant at the time. So have a clear proposition of, my name's James, I own a marketing agency called Rapid, and we offer web design, branding, SEO, and social media management. It's that concise. Yes, there's 4 services in there, but I can tell customers and tell potential clients what I do in a sentence, rather than back in 2016, we're Rapid Marketing, we're digital education and digital content management, we do video photography, and it became this list of, and you could see the client switching off and sort of, well, that guy sort of is a jack of all trades, master of none. So I think that's very important in developing who you are. What is the key elements that you want to bring out and to focus on? Just to pause, if anybody wants to ask a question, stick it in the comment box and we'll come back to everything at the end. So feel free to type away there while I'm speaking. Then in 2018, through a bit of a rebrand, quite a substantial rebrand, name from Rapid Marketing to Rapid Agency. We changed the marketing to agency in as much as we weren't doing solely marketing related activities. We were doing graphics, a wee bit of animation as well. So it was wrong to brand everything as marketing. As well as that, we found that the term marketing, a lot of people get confused with sales and marketing. And there was online marketing, there was offline marketing. So actually that wasn't doing us justice. So Rapid Agency, we decided to rebrand to. We simplified our logo from the sort of the blue wave into the black, red, and blue. The black stands for PR, red stands for media, and blue stands for marketing, and that's how the wave is made up. So we've tried to streamline and brand ourselves as we develop, but also as our customers develop and become more educated on digital marketing, which we have seen in the past 5 years. Customers are a lot more educated on social media, so then we have to try to up our communication with the customer as well. Then as part of the rebrand, we came up with a bit of a tagline. So your marketing agency became something really sharp, simple, easy to say to customers, and it sort of gave them a bit of ownership of Rapid, because we would generally be with customers for a 12-month contract. So then to be branding ourselves as, well, we're your marketing department, we're your marketing agency for the next year, sort of was a nice bridge to build between us and the client. Another key thing, just as a sort of a sub title on determine what you want to be known for, is developing in your LinkedIn profile. Whenever we get sent in CVs, the first thing we do is go onto LinkedIn and type in that person's name. Now, as creepy as that may sound, that's probably the first thing a lot of employers do. And some of the profile images and some of the things that we find down the years have been very funny, and some of them have been just completely put us off that candidate. So what I would say is stay clear of the tongue out profile photo, and also stay clear of the Saturday night out profile photos. Not too sure they're suitable for LinkedIn, but definitely develop a nice LinkedIn bio about yourself, a cover photo, and a good headshot if you can get one. You can see here on my LinkedIn, I've tried to narrow my bio down to as simple as I can. So I've got James Scullion. I'm the director of Rapid Agency. We do web, brand, SEO, and social media. Really concise. We got a photographer in a couple of weeks ago, got some shots of the staff. We thought that was quite a nice touch to have the staff there on our headers of our LinkedIn accounts. People buy people, and people like seeing that it's a local agency. They like seeing the people behind the services that we offer too. So we've found that has been really effective in terms of engaging other people. As well as that, any social media post or any creative that you use that has a person's face in it is usually 7 times more engaging than a photo that doesn't have somebody's face in it. So anytime that you're doing social media posts, maybe you've got a creative portfolio, I would advise you probably to stick up a photo of yourself. On Instagram in particular, we found that engagement is very, very high whenever people can see the face behind the business. So yeah, a professional headshot, a simple bio, and a nice cover photo can brand your profile up pretty easily. And generally, it's the first impressions that count. My last 4 employees that I've hired them within the first 5 minutes of meeting them. Now, 2 of them were on a Zoom call, and I knew within about 5 to 10 minutes that they were the people that I was going to hire. So first impressions are very, very important, and all of these small touches are things that add up to an employer or to a potential client or to the general public. It's the tiny details that all add up, and first impressions definitely matter. Just a point too then on building your personal brand for the creative industry. Research your desired industry and follow the leading voices. So especially on LinkedIn and on Instagram, people can see who you're following. So try to align yourself with people that will give you credibility rather than people that might pull your reputation down. Once something is online and once something's on social media, it's very hard to take it back off again. So make sure anything that you're liking or sharing or reposting is of a credible source and will show your brand and show your profile in a good light. Embrace networking, probably one of the most important points that I would add. Obviously, it's been slightly more difficult over the past 12 months or so with COVID, but as networking starts to become a norm again and people are out and about, get to as many networking events as you can, meet people, develop your communication skills, ask for potential opportunities to speak at events or to do a presentation, even if it's just 5 minutes at the start of an event and there's maybe a bigger speakers in the agenda later. But try to get opportunities to meet people and to show yourself off at events. This was something that I put a lot of onus on in the early years of developing Rapid, was always trying to be the stupidest person in the room and to try and align myself with 2 to 3 years ahead of me. Look at what they done, what are they doing now, what language are they using to talk about themselves and their businesses, what posts are they putting up on social, what clients do they have, who are they friendly with, and look to see, is there a bit of a steer that you can get on the people that are around you? And that is so important for your personal brand, is who you associate yourself with within the creative agency and industry at large as well. Number 4 then, bit of a comical one, but please stop sending us CVs and new time Romans. It's a real pet hate that creative people don't feel they have the freedom to be creative with a CV or with a portfolio. If you're a videographer, I still haven't received, I think I've received one guy sent us a videographer sort of CV portfolio as a video and introduced himself. It was brilliant. And at that time we took him on. He then left to go to America. A really talented guy. But one thing I would say is, if you're in video or animation or graphic, send your CV or send your portfolio in that type of format, rather than a New Times Roman CV that looks like it's from the 1980s. So try to develop, even from the very onset, that whenever that CV lands on an employer's desk, it's captivating, it's new, it's original, it's creative, it's informative, it's a great piece of content, that it stands out from the get-go from all of the other CVs. The last time we were employing, I think we got 118 CVs for a graphic designing role. If one of them had been a video or initially, then there's a point of difference straight away. So try to think of ways to set yourself apart. The big thing that we look for within people that we're looking to employ is creativity. You can't really teach it. Yes, you can hone your Adobe skills through Adobe Suite, or your ways of shooting content, but we look for creativity, and it's the thing that makes you stand out. So from the get-go, be creative. And then following on pretty closely from that then is creating an Instagram portfolio for your work, or a Behance portfolio, or whatever you can do to showcase your previous work in its best light. Send that over as well. And generally we would look at a portfolio the same amount of time that we would look at a CV. So put a good amount of time into your portfolio and show us that it's something that you've invested in. But yeah, I think then that's the last point there. I have done it on that. I'll just go back here and stop sharing. So hopefully those sort of 4 or 5 points were beneficial. Donna, do you want me to go back here? I think you're still muted, Donna.
Totally, very beneficial tips there. Just before you shut off, there is a question in the chat box, and the other speakers here. And what do we see? There was a chat here from. Okay. Just trying to think where it was.
Yeah, there's a.
Yes, there's a question from Daniel.
Lovely.
Yeah, Daniel have asked James, how would I market myself if I feel I am shoving things into people's faces?
Yeah, I think probably the best way of doing that, Daniel, would be probably posting previous work. So rather than maybe going down a sales kind of line or being quite aggressive, it's probably showcasing, here's previous work that I've done, here's the previous testimonials. So you're building confidence within your work to new individuals without it being too sales orientated. So the majority of our posts on Instagram in particular would be from past work and clients, and generally that kind of post shows other individuals that, one, you're busy, that two, you're good at what you do, and it sort of develops a wee bit of FOMO, fear of missing out. Well, everybody else is doing that something with their website, I must get rapid to do something as well. So I think that kind of content works quite well.
That's great. We'll take another question and then we'll come back to your questions at the end, if that's all right, because there's a few other questions here, if that's all right. James,
Yeah, perfect.
what advice would you have for the, within the creative industries in terms of pricing, which I think is a very valid question,
Yeah, great question. Yeah, great question, Liam. I think what we've tried to do in terms of creative agencies is to set everything down to an hourly rate. So what would you be comfortable working for per hour, and how many hours do you foresee that project taking? And then being open with the client, saying, right, my hourly rate's 10, 20, 30, 40 pound an hour. I foresee this taking half a day. Would you be comfortable with me invoicing this out at 4 hours work at 20 pounds an hour? That way your client knows how long it's going to take, and two, you're getting a decent wage or a decent rate per hour, rather than you saying, that'll be 20 quid, and it actually takes you half a day to do it. So always go back to an hourly rate and try to work out how many hours would be in that project. But yeah, good question. And pricing is difficult, and it's always good to try and be as competitive possible on your pricing as well, Liam.
A virtual round of applause for you there, James. I basically can say that was a very, very informative session in terms of tips and tricks in terms of the creative sector. Absolutely. We'll come back to Yvonne's question, Victoria's question a little later, if that's okay, Victoria and Yvonne. James will come back very shortly after we have a couple of the other speakers. All right. Thanks a million, James.
No problem. No problem.
You're very welcome. Now we're moving over to a different form of creativity, but yes, very, very equal and a very valid, from a student at Ulster University who's currently on her second year, Cora McConnell. Cora, if you would like to share your screen, you're very welcome. And hello, Cora.
Yep, just trying to share my wee screen. Hopefully you can all hear me. I think there's a wee bit of
I'll switch off my screen. Lovely, no problem at all.
Hopefully we'll get this working and I'll not keep you much longer.
Are you okay, Cora?
Yeah, it's just uploading now. Dodgy Wi-Fi, but hopefully you all see it.
The joys of technology.
I know, definitely. There you are. Can you all see that? Okay.
That's lovely.
Yes, we can.
No problem.
Yeah.
You're very welcome.
Camera on
So
as well.
without further ado, this is Cora McConnell, a drama student at Ulster University. Over to you, Cora.
Thank you very much, Donna. I just want to start off by saying welcome everyone, and I'm going to try and make this as helpful and insightful as possible. So to start off, I'm just going to give a wee bit about myself and just introduce myself a wee bit. So, as Donna said, my name is Cora McConnell and I'm currently a second year drama student studying at the Magee campus. I am an actor for the stage and screen. My recent work was a short film for the screen called It's Not That Simple, and the background there is just a wee still from the film. And funny story, if I'm starting off with some advice, you can't really see it in that image, but I did have mascara running down my face, and I actually travelled home without realizing this. So if I'm giving one piece of advice, it's look at yourself before leaving, whatever you're doing. But yeah, I'm also a writer and a director, and I got the experience last year before COVID hit to write and direct my own scripted performance called But He Loves Me. And that's just one of the many experiences and opportunities that I've had throughout my short time at Ulster. So kicking off, just getting into how I've kind of created my own personal brand and any wee tips and advice I can give you for doing the same. So as a young person, I've always had this thought or idea in my head that I wanted my name to be known. And I feel like that's a really relevant thing now. You want your name to be known in the creative industry, and that's no matter what field you're from. And that's something that I really do keep in mind when developing my personal brand. What can I do, or what can I get involved in that's going to get my name out there or help to get my name out there? Because as you all know, it is a competitive industry to get into. So really my best piece of advice is get involved in absolutely everything, because now is the time to do it. This is the time to shine and to show people what you are made of. You really just can't, take a back seat and let other people take these opportunities if you want to make it in the creative industry. But one thing I do think it's important to realise, and sometimes I forget it myself, is that everyone in the creative industry is talented. And I feel many people forget this because, we are doing something that we love and something that we're passionate about. But that is something that I do want to emphasise, and I want to emphasise taking every opportunity that you can, because at the end of the day, what I've said before, it is a competitive industry that we're getting into, and there are a lot of people that are just as good and just as talented as ourselves. And just speaking from experience a wee bit, I came from quite a small A-level drama class, and I was always getting, say, the highest grades, or I was always getting praise, and I kind of got comfortable with this, and I didn't really push myself because I thought, oh well, that's okay, I'm maybe one of the better ones, one of the best, and I just kind of was comfortable with that. But once I came to university, I saw all these other talented people around me, and it kind of brought me back to reality a bit, that there are many talented people, and there are many people that are amazing at what they do, and they love what they do as much as me. Now, this is not me saying that I says, I'm rubbish and everyone else is amazing. That's not the case. But what it did make me do is want to push myself, want to push myself to do better, and to be the one that was sort of different than everyone else, and to be the one that people could come to and they know that I'm going to do a good job because I have this experience behind me. You could go to an interview or go to an audition, whatever it may be, and someone could be standing beside you and they could have the exact same ability, just be as good as you are. But if you have all these extra opportunities and all these experiences, you can say, look, I've done X, Y, Z, and they can see, you are the right person just from your experience and from your different opportunities. So that is the main thing. Like, my main piece of advice is don't sit back. You want to get involved, you want to have as much experience as possible, and obviously it is hard with COVID, especially for us in the creative industry, but there are many things you can do to keep working and keep building on creating your own brand for the creative industry. Now, I know you are probably all sitting, because I have listened to many speeches and many people giving advice, and I've heard many times, you know, oh, you need to stand out, you need experience, but it really is the main piece of advice, and advice that I keep with me when I am developing my personal brand. Because as I have said, there is a lot of talented people out there, and there will be a lot of talented people around you. And you know, sometimes you may hit a wall and you may feel like you're not getting anywhere, or you're not developing, or you're not pushing forward. But this is exactly why these opportunities are vital. So, just to summarize everything that I have said, when creating my own brand, I like to follow the 5 Bs. And that is: be involved, be confident in your own ability, be committed, be determined, and also be kind to yourself and others. And something I just want to say to you, or kind of let you in on, is if you're ever in an interview or an audition, whatever it may be, showcasing your work, you want to be confident. You want to be confident since you step in that door, of not just the door into your audition, but the very first door that you step into. Because from experience of going to auditions and also being on that audition panel, there are people that actually was sitting with ourselves, myself and the rest of the individuals that was going to the audition, and they were actually a member of the agency. So you may feel that's a very brittle way to try and catch you out, but it is quite smart, because someone from that agency was sitting and listening to our conversations and pinpointing, you know, this individual may be better for the job. This individual doesn't seem confident. They seem, you know, they're not prepared. They're not ready to work. And also from speaking experience as being on the interview panel for different things that I've produced, and looking for different actors and people to do my camera work, etc. You want to be confident just walking in that door. If you appear to be confident before you even speak, you're guaranteed to be picked. Because when it came down to it, we could have had, say, narrowed it down to 5 people, and if we thought, okay, this person was more confident than the next, you're guaranteed to take that person more. So that's just a wee bit of advice. Just always be confident and believe in yourself and your own ability, because you have done what you've had to do to get this far. So you may as well push yourself to the last bit and hopefully be successful. But I just wanted to show you all as well. These are just a few at the top, a few wee Facebook groups that I really encourage you all to get involved in. Many of them I have actually got jobs from. So all you have to do is join the group. It's not just for actors. There's people that was looking, individuals for animation, for camera work, for makeup, costume design, etc. So they are really good groups to be in. And also, I'm not sure if anyone knows of this or is involved, but below is just a wee link to the extras department. Now that is really vital to be joined, as well, as it's just really, you put yourself out there, you just have a headshot, information, work that you've done before, and people from different agencies, different whatever they're doing can contact you, and it's just a really great way to get yourself out there. And again, it's not just for actors, it's for individuals who do costume design, do makeup, etc., etc. And then just as well, a wee link to the Ulster page for the rest of the Skills Week, as there is some great talks the rest of this week. So I really encourage you all to get involved in those as well. But But just a massive thank you all for listening. I hope I haven't bored you all too much. And of course, if there's any questions or anything that you want to ask me, feel free. I'll actually just go back to that wee page in case anyone wants to or screenshot it down.
Thanks a million. There is a question here. There's a little question here. Have you had to deal with rejection, Cora? And if so, how did you cope with rejection?
I have dealt with rejection before, and obviously, you know, it can discourage you. You know, you could get so far and then be told at the last minute, no, we do, or, you know, but it is hard and you do feel discouraged. I've always felt discouraged, but you just need to take that experience and, you know, it might lead on to something else. I was at a audition and I was turned down for a certain part. The guy, the director, actually came back to me and says, look, further down the line, he says, look, we have another part here, would you be interested? And it was great, and it might have not been the part I originally went for, but it was still an amazing part. So yes, you can be rejected and it is hard and you may feel like you've lost your motivation, but sometimes it can lead to better things. So you always just have to stay motivated and be encouraged to keep on even when you do have those fallbacks.
Brilliant, Cora. That's great word of wisdom to all our students there. Absolutely fantastic. And just a final wee question there in terms of a portfolio. So would you recommend, and you know, do you have a portfolio that you submit for potential auditions prior to that, or do you have one at the ready, or would you highly recommend a portfolio?
Yep, definitely. It's just a great thing to have that stores all your work together, and you know it's great for the interview panel to see because it shows that you know all your work is in one place, and it is just a really great thing to have, and it's very useful. And just make sure that that is always kept up to date, especially any photographs or headshots that you've had of yourself. That's one bit of advice I would give. Just definitely make sure that all your work and any headshots is always kept up to date.
Oh, that was brilliant. Cora, you have been a wealth of knowledge for a second-year student at Ulster University. You really are, you know, showcasing your total creativity there. Thank you so much. I don't know about the audience, but I certainly enjoyed Cora highlighting her 5 Bs there. Great information in the chat. Brendan has mentioned that he has been an extra on TV. Robin has mentioned there's some information. Thank you. Definitely has restored some of my motivation. Cora, I really would like you to stay on to the end, if you don't mind, in case there is any students have any final questions they would like to ask, if you don't mind.
Yep, thank you very much, Donna, and thanks everyone for your wee comments.
It has been a pleasure, and we really, all of us here today, really wish you all the success, and we look forward to seeing you on camera very, very soon.
That's great, Donna. Thank you very much.
Thanks a million. Now, our final guest, but by no means least, is another a graduate from Ulster University within the creative industry, who is, I've noticed there that Kathy has mentioned in the chat box, Entrepreneurship Week, Wednesday, 10 o'clock. Please get yourselves involved there, because we have our next guest speaker has set up her own business. So that's very, very timely, Kathy. So I'm going to hand it over to our final speaker this morning, Jamie. You're very welcome with us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me. Can you hear me okay?
I can indeed. Yes, Jamie, we can, certainly.
Perfect. Let me just load my presentation. So before I start, if anyone here has a business or a project that you're working on, please put it in the chat, put your website there, your social media handle, so that everyone can have a look. And you never know, you could find your new biggest fan. It's just uploading here, bear with me.
No problem. That's the first tip on networking Amy's proposed. Lovely.
Yeah, you might as well have
Brilliant,
take
Liam.
advantage of every situation.
Great. Absolutely. Brilliant. No problem, Daniel. That's absolutely fine. You're doing great, Daniel. And there's Rebecca's designs, fantastic. And we have James. You can recall back to the beginning of our session when James from Rapid Design mentioned, any opportunity that you can professionally network, please get your name out there, definitely.
Brilliant.
There's Laura.
Everyone's got a business, it seems.
Brilliant, fantastic, absolutely great. There's Rachel, is involved in Young Enterprise at Ulster University. Fantastic, Rachel. Great stuff. And we've got Sarah there, Books and Beaches, brilliant. Lovely, Sarah. Painted Marmalade, that's great, Yvonne. Brilliant. So we've a host of creative students on board here today. There's Kendall, artist, brilliant, Kendall. Maeve, well done, Maeve, and Clara, fantastic. These are all doing a great job here. Really, really fantastic.
Perfect. So hopefully you can all see my presentation now.
Yes.
And I'm going to switch off my camera just briefly so the audio connection can be the best it can be. So, as Donna said, I'm Jamie Baldrick. I graduated from Ulster in 2020. I studied textile, art design and fashion in the Belfast campus. And I now have my own business, Jamie Baldrick Knitwear, where I make fun and playful knitwear from factory waste that would otherwise be destined for landfill. Sustainability is a huge part of my life and therefore my business. And I launched my business in August of 2020, so I'm still relatively new. So I had always been searching for clothes and accessories that were fun and playful, but that also met my sustainability standards. And I struggled to find this, so I decided I would become that niche, as James was talking about, and fill that gap and create my own designs. As you can see from these images, I'm a maximalist when it comes to colour and texture. The image on the left is a close-up of my final year knit samples, and the image on the right is my work in Future Edit. This was an exhibition created by the Crafts Council to showcase the best craft graduate talent from 2020. So this is a screenshot of my website. I sell my work through jamiebaldrick.com, and I'm a one-woman operation. Everything is made in studio by me, and I'm sure a lot of you know, when you're starting out with your own brand, you have to wear many hats and kind of adapt to every role. Like I could probably use James and Rapid in my life, to be honest, because currently I'm not only the designer and maker, I'm also the web developer, the photographer, social media manager, and so much more. And at the minute with my website, I mostly sell small knitwear accessories like socks, hats and scrunchies, whilst I work on a full autumn-winter collection in the background. So I'll let you know a bit more about my journey from uni to where I am now. So my specialism in my degree was obviously knitwear, and I was lucky enough to complete a placement year with the Inishmaan Knitting Company. The photo on the left is me in the factory beside one of the industrial knitting machines. The Inishmaan Knitting Company is a knitwear factory based on the Aran Islands off the coast of Galway. And I'm not sure what year everyone here is in, but if you have the opportunity to do a placement year, absolutely do it. You'll be miles ahead of your final year classmates and you'll be so much more prepared for industry. Inishmaan was a great placement for me. Not only did I learn how to make amazing knitwear, but I also learned about running a factory and the overall running of the business. And after my placement, I went into final year guns blazing, super excited to create my final collection. But as we all know, COVID had other ideas. So final year ended with a whimper rather than a bang. But like a lot of people, I'm sure you all can relate, the first lockdown forced me to pause and think about what I really wanted, take stock of where I want to be. And I had always known that I would eventually start my own business, but I had this idea in my head that I had to have more experience and have spent more time in the industry. But I decided finally, I had a kind of screw it moment. I know knitting makes me happy, so I had to find a way to make it my life. So I just went for it. In the beginning, I applied for every grant, every expedition, every opportunity that I could find, and thankfully some of them stuck. So I got the Santander Student Enterprise Grant, which helped me to buy some machinery to get started. And as I mentioned before, I took part in the Crafts Council's Future Edit exhibition, which helped to grow my following online. The picture on the right is another example of my work from that exhibition. So my brand, so in marketing terms, mine is a self-identifying brand, hence all these lovely photos of me. I am the personality behind the brand. It reflects my taste, my values, and I really feel like that's one thing I do a good job with, is clearly defining the values of my brand. I 100% believe in the importance of sustainability, slow fashion, and supporting small business. And I build my social media content around communicating that alongside communicating the basic product information. So when someone buys something from me, it is partly because they are invested in the idea that they're supporting an individual, a small business, someone's passion. And like I did when I was starting out, many people worry that when they are small, that their business has credibility, but there are so many strengths in having a small business. Like the most important one, the level of trust between you and your customer is a huge strength. You can be transparent and honest about your process and build up those personal connections. People trust big brands less and less these days, and you can see how desperate they are to build that connection and that consciousness that small businesses do automatically. Also, independent makers and small brands are really unique. Like, you wouldn't have started if you didn't have an amazing idea and a passion. And you automatically have less overheads because you don't have shareholders you have to be responsible to. Your business is on your terms. You can literally run it however you like. But flexibility is also a huge strength, not only in terms of timing and how you plan your business around your personal life, but because you're small, you can be adaptable to change in the industry. For example, if you discover a more eco-friendly means of production, you can implement that almost straight away. You're not a huge company waiting for stock to run out or waiting for factories to catch up. And if you have your phone on you, take a photo of this slide or take a screenshot, because I'm basically giving you a cheat sheet on how to get started with your brand, your idea, or your future career, really. All of these listed organisations either give out funding to creatives, they highlight new opportunities, new jobs, and they host competitions, or they tell you what other organisations are sharing funding at the minute. And honestly, if you check these every so often, you'll find loads of opportunities you can apply for. And you can see here that, like, there's some British organisations, some Irish organisations, and that is one of the rare advantages to being in Northern Ireland, is that you can make the most of both worlds. So you can apply for British funding and Irish funding, and that's okay. And if anyone else knows of any other helpful organisations to apply for, please put it in the chat. I know that Cora also gave us some great examples. And I'm sharing this lovely illustration because community over competition is something that's become a bit of a life motto for me. On social media, it's really easy to get bogged down with comparison and wondering, oh, how did they get that and I didn't get that. However, I really believe that you need to become the support you wish you had, like become your friend's like best hype man online. And I'm really not interested in competing with anyone. Like, I really do hope we all make it. And lastly, if you ever want to find me or chat about something specific that I've said today, or just say hello, I'm at Jamie Baldrick on Instagram, Pinterest, and most recently TikTok. Please feel free to send me an email or visit my website, jamiebaldrick.com, to see what I've been knitting and get some inspiration for maybe how you can start as well. Yeah, thank you for listening. That's everything.
Jamie, thank you very, very much indeed. And I'm sure you'll all agree that that was a very, very interesting journey in terms of creativity within the fashion textile sector. I really was taken back by Jamie's story in terms of really going back to what James had said there, you know, really in terms of having that unique selling point. Basically. That was absolutely excellent. Lovely comment there. So helpful. Thank you. Thank you for your work. Love your work, Jamie. And it's
so much.
And it's great that you shared the key pointers as well for other students along their journey as well. I mean, as you rightly say there, it is very much about taking the approach of caring is sharing in this community that we're all finding ourselves in, particularly at the moment, certainly over the last year, what we've all been subjected to. And that was very much the premise of Katie Piper in our earlier session this morning about, you know, helping each other, supporting each other where we can, and, you know, connecting, and that networking that James rightly said there, to get your name out there. Absolutely. Very, very, very poignant points made there. Thank you kindly, Jamie, for sharing that.
No problem at all.
I'm just going to go back because there is a couple of questions, if you don't mind, in the chat. What do we see?
I'd like to point out Jack Harkin has said, followed by Guapo, what a claim to fame. And that is literally one of my claim to fames. Guapo is a burrito restaurant in my hometown, and I was very excited when they followed me.
Oh, very good, very good. Brilliant. Absolutely, I love it. Absolutely love it. Very good. Excellent. You're doing some sterling stuff there, and you're I think, you know, as the students are pointing out to you, your unique selling point is beautiful. Absolutely lovely. There's James from Rapid. He's even mentioned that we can arrange to meet later. So there's another connection for you as well there, Jamie. Now, absolutely. And it's great that we're even introducing these networks indirectly among yourselves. That's fantastic. I just want to go back to a couple of questions, if you don't mind, please. This is a question for James. James, if you're back on with us, it would be great just to share a couple of final questions there. One of the students, Victoria, has asked, what is the best way to include animation within a portfolio?
Maybe having a separate link, maybe to where you could keep your animations, potentially maybe a YouTube channel or a Vimeo that's locked, and then just to hyperlink that link to that channel onto your portfolio or CV would be the easiest way.
Brilliant.
Yeah, just post them somewhere and send the links.
Perfect. Very good. I hope that has answered your question there, Victoria. That's great. I have another question here, again, James, for yourself, from Yvonne. As an illustration, how formal or informal do you believe a CV should be?
I'm not too sure about the stance or the line on formal or informal, but it should completely display how creative you can be. So whether or not you've had a lot of commercial work and that commercial work makes makes the portfolio or the CV formal, or I think it's different for each person. You know, you want your personality to shine through and a wee bit of your tone of voice. So certainly maybe gauge it in the way of being quite formal, but let your personality and your creativity shine through. But I wouldn't get too hung up on that.
Right, perfect. Very, very valid point there. I hope that has answered your question there, Yvonne. This is a little note that from Sarah to Jamie there. I use old books and pick glass off the beach in my work. Love sustainable and recycled work. So that's for Jamie there. Thank you for that, Sarah. That's excellent. Lovely. Now, just before we round up, does anybody have any final questions before I put the whiteboard on? Because what I would like you to do now is, before we finish off this session, because I mean, really we've had 3 very unique, different creativity styles there, you know, from digital marketing from James, from the knitwear and textile world, and from the whole drama field. So does anybody have any final questions that they would like to ask any of our panel members before they finish off today? Okay, so I want you to start thinking then. So really, if you could take away one message today from any of the audience, what key message would it be? So we'll share the whiteboard, and that's great, Brendan. We'll share the whiteboard, and you can put your thoughts into the whiteboard. Is that okay? Now, okay.
So there was.
So basically, sorry, James.
Sorry, there was somebody there saying, if there's time, would you say experience from graphic design industries is useful as a graphic designer, like England's design industry, for example? Yeah, I think that was Maeve saying that. Yeah, I think any experience you can get, Maeve, to put down your CV is beneficial, absolutely. So if there's anything that you can put down in a portfolio that shows somebody some of your work, yeah, fill your bits.
Brilliant. There's the comments are coming through. Specialise, don't generalise. Very, very good. I have to say that was a very key factor that has been demonstrated really here today by our 3 conversationalists, both all of them right through. Specialise, don't generalise. Absolutely. Professional LinkedIn is key. Very good. The 5 Bs was very poignant. Community versus competition. I love it. Absolutely excellent. Anything else anybody would like to take away today? What about networking, for example? For example, in the island of Ireland, it is a small place. Okay, so it's very, very important to respect others within the wider business field, because you know, particularly if you're going to start your own business, your own brand, it's getting your name out there. So networking is key. Lovely. Show the face behind your brand. I love it. Very, very important. Brilliant. Any other comments before we finish up? Setting yourself apart from others, very good. Showing the face behind the brand business is more engaging, very good, absolutely. And that was brought through as well by all of our audience, or all of our guest speakers there. For example, James mentioned the photographs of his staff. They were all along the line, the top of his screenshot there. Very, 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 very personal. Absolutely. I love this comment. Be the support to others that you wish you had. That was a very, very special comment made by Jamie there at the end. I love it. It really does show there's care in the environment, in the business world as well. Networking is key. And the other key factors that anybody else would like to share, or something that maybe that could help another student, or indeed one of our presenters here today, before we finish off. Okay then, well listen, thank you kindly, and I hope you found that session very beneficial, because I know I did. Oh, there was a lovely comment, short and straight to the point bio. Okay, so your biography should be like an A4 page, short and snappy, selling yourself. Absolutely. Very good. That is great. Well, keep your eye on all of them. Start following all of our presenters now within their businesses because it is a great opportunity for everybody. Great, lovely. I'm delighted, Dara. That's fantastic. Very much a great set of talks. Brilliant, Maeve. Engagement there today. Brilliant. Just make sure I'm not missing any chats before we finish off. No. Brilliant. Great speakers here today. Lovely. All very different and all very unique. It was brilliant. Thank you all very much indeed. Well, that brings us to a close. James, Jamie and Cora, is there any final points of wisdom you want to add, or is everybody happy?
No, I think I'm all good. It was good to hear everybody else's story and good to have such a good crowd on the chat. And
Lovely.
if anybody needs any other advice, feel free to reach out to us on social media.
Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed.
My phone is glued to my hand, basically, so my DMs are always open if anyone wants to chat or some advice.
Very good, Jamie. Listen, thanks a million. Thanks very much. Listen, I'm going to close the session and thank you kindly once again, and I wish you every success. And you know where we're at. If you need staff, you need a placement opportunity, whatever that may be, we're here to help as well. It's a two-way street.
That's fantastic.
Just to finalise, Stella, do you have the wee final slide there to show?
Yes, I do.
Lovely. Okay, so we just have a final slide for our students in relation to absolutely in relation to forthcoming events right throughout the remainder of the week, and advice and support on how we can help the students on board. Absolutely. So, for example, this afternoon we have a really excellent session running at 2:30. And it's in relation to supporting all of our students with me, myself, and mental health. Now, this is such a poignant topic in today's age. So if you're free this afternoon, feel free, please, to log into this session because there's useful tips and support there to help you along your journey. And also we have one on the 25th. Again, your own personal brand, touching on your own marketing brand again. Or we have one there on Wednesday, overcoming interview nerves. We have guest speakers from mental well-being. We have a HR specialist and student at Ulster University, and how she actually overcame her own nerves to succeed and gain placement. You're very, very welcome. And how we can support you, there's various methods there, from accessing one-to-one advice and coaching. We have daily appointments. They're happening in the mornings. We also have our appointments. They'll be happening again from next week. Follow us on Careers at Ulster on our social media, also on our YouTube as well, Instagram. Please follow us throughout the week. We also have a host of resources available to you, such as obviously Handshake here today, but we've also got VMOC, where you can run your CV for free and get feedback, support on how to create your CV. We've also got mock interviews through your Interview 360 to help you enhance your competitiveness as well. So hopefully I'll see you at one of the other careers cafe sessions throughout the week, and certainly I hope you'll maybe join us at the 2:30 session, me, myself, and mental health. Thank you all very much indeed for listening, and I'll catch up with you no doubt throughout the rest of the week. Thanks a million, James, Jamie and Cora.
Thanks, everybody.
All the best. Take care, James. Bye-bye. Thanks a million, Jamie.